Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to Be My Guest. Guess who we have back today? I think it's been Kate and I were talking about this about a year. Not because we haven't wanted her to be on, but because I've spent most of 2024 very sick. First I had pneumonia for months, and then I came down with COVID. So you've seen a lot of reruns that have been on. But now you're seeing some new ones. So we're back, and I made it through it. Kate Cote. And Kate, as many of you may remember, is the founder of Fur Love Comfort Cats. For you folks who don't know her, you're going to meet her right now. Kate, when did you start your love for cats?
Actually, I was 2 months old, and my life was saved by the family cat. And that was it. He was my best friend growing up. His name was Butch. He was also my first death. He died when I was 10 and he was 14. So, people don't realize really the deep value of pets in a child's life. I had speech problems growing up. I grew up in a very stressful environment, and I had speech problems. So I had a little cat that I took in my hood that I would smuggle around with me, and she made me feel like I belonged, that someone loved me, because, I've often said this and people get offended, but when you have something wrong with you, people shy away from you. They don't want to deal with you, whether you're in a wheelchair or you've lost a limb or you have speech problems or you have facial scarring. And so because I couldn't speak, people didn't want to interact with me. And so fortunately, when I was able to get to a better environment when I was 19, that all departed. But I still went around with cats, because I just felt better having a cat with me. And I was actually doing comfort work before it was even thought of.
What were you doing?
I was bringing my little cat with me, and she was my own personal comfort cat. Yeah. So it helped me when I went out in public. And so because I've been working with cats, a lot of people call them traveling cats, ever since I was a child, I have a very special gift of being able to raise these cats and get them to feel comfortable in a social setting. I mean, look at this guy. People, when I go out with a cat, people say to me, that cat is upset. And it's like, I have no idea why you think this cat is upset, because I think Kiki has gone to sleep.
How many of us see a cat that calm?
But see, people don't get this. People will say to me, oh, everybody brings an animal. They bring dogs, they bring snakes, they bring this. But people don't realize that this is a method, an actual method that I have developed over my entire life of working with animals, especially cats. I'm very gifted with working with cats. And Kiki is kind of going to be an interesting character to have on your show today, because Kiki is 18 now.
18.
And he actually has dementia.
Dementia? How do you know a cat has dementia?
They have the same behaviors that people have. So this is kind of an interesting little story. And of course, when you've worked with a cat for 18 years, that's a ton of history and a ton of memories and a ton of stories, just like with a person that you've been with for 18 years. So a few years ago, he has a condition called pacing, where he has a routine that he walks around and around and around. And he inadvertently pulled something down and he broke his leg. He completely shattered his leg. And I thought, well, that's going to be it. This is going to be it. And we couldn't get a vet to see us. And fortunately, we have friends, and they pulled some strings, got us into a vet hospital. And the vet said, I want him to go and see an orthopedic surgeon and have plates and pins and screws. And I said, not doing any of that. I said, I'm just not. I said, his age, the money, the exposure to anesthesia. So she said, well, we'll put a cast on him for a week. We'll put a splint on him for a week. And then in a week, you're going to be going to an ortho.
And he got better.
And I said, I'm not doing that. I am just not doing that. I'm just not.
Did he get the cast?
So, yep, she put a splint on him. And so anyway, and during the course of the whole thing, I said to her, he also has dementia. And she said, well, has he been formally diagnosed? And afterwards, one of my friends said, I don't think, she said, Kiki would know who the president is, even if he didn't have dementia. Because that's one of the questions they ask you is, do you know the president? Do you know what year it is? What'd you have for dinner? And so anyway, he had the splint on for 6 weeks. He had to be in a crate, and I had to invent something that ended up going all around the world because he didn't want the splint on, and he kept messing with it, trying to take it off. And I invented something to keep his splint dry, and one day the vet put him on the floor to see if his paw would support his weight. The whole staff had to chase him all around the vet hospital. She came in, she couldn't even breathe. She was so upset. And they kept getting on me about his age and saying he wasn't getting good care and that's how he got hurt and all these things. And I said to the vet, you need to take this cat for a weekend, and deal with him. And she said to me, no thanks, I'm good.
How long did it take him to get well?
6 weeks exactly. 6 weeks. And if you were to feel of his back leg, it's all...
Can you see him or can you zero in on him, Paul?
His back leg is all, you can feel all the scar tissue where his bones heal. He has not even got a limp. And a while back... And this course speaks to what happens to us when we get old, too. Elderly people get kind of an attitude because people start looking at you and they think, oh, you're old, you're frail, you don't have value. And my father was classic because he had this attitude because he didn't want anybody thinking he was old and frail and at the end of his life. Well, that's this guy. So he got out on me. He was gone for 2 weeks. The neighbors were all chasing him. I was chasing him. You know what he was doing? He was beating up all the neighborhood cats.
Was he fixed?
Yes.
Was he looking for a bride?
No, he was beating everybody up because he was angry because he's old. So we finally got him back. And he was clawed from one end to the other. And the younger cats, was so upset, that he had gone out, he was hurt and all of this. Do you know, he came in, slept for a couple of days, tried to run out on me again. Because he's like, you know who I am? I'm Kiki, I'm a tough guy. And so, of course, now... and maybe I'll get him to do this during the broadcast, he beats us all up. The kittens are trying to, wash him and take care of him, and he beats them up, because he's like, get out of here, I can take care of myself, don't be fussing over me. So one day I was sitting in my chair, and he came and sat in my lap. He was soaking wet, and I said, Kiki, what has happened to you? Well, he was asleep, and he was so deeply asleep that all the younger cats gathered all around him and scrubbed him all up and loved on him and washed him. And he came in and he looked like Mr. T. His fur was all sticking up on his head. It was just a fun, because they love him. And they want to take care of him, but because he's elderly and he's got this attitude now, he's like, I'm not old, I don't need everybody.
Look, and he passed 8 years old to me.
I know, that's the power of making...
We are talking with Kate Cote, and she's the founder of Fur Love Comfort Cats. Now, Kate, when did you actually start your program, Fur Love Comfort, and you bring them to people who would need the comfort of a cat?
Oh, I've been doing this now, I think it's 50 years.
50?
Yep.
You're kidding.
Yep. I actually started out as a volunteer in a nursing home. I think it was like 30 or 40 years ago. And something unfortunate happened, and I said, I'm not doing that ever again. I'm just not. Because people don't realize that, because of the health laws and the politics and finances, it's very, very hard to get an animal in a nursing home and bring them in. And
has that improved now?
No, it's much worse.
Last time we talked, it was bad.
Yeah, we've gone back like 20 years. We really have.
How are you making it?
We're not. But so anyway, I was in my church one Sunday, and a man started talking about street ministry, and it was in my old neighborhood. And so I thought, all right, I'm going to bring a cat and do street ministry. And then this was 10 years after I quit doing volunteer work. I kept going around with the cats and bringing them around and everything, but there weren't any visits. And then my aunt went into the Beaumont, and I wanted to bring the cat to visit her. So after we got done with street ministry, we would go and visit my auntie.
And I saw you at Beaumont, coming down the hall with the cat.
Yep, and so we started visiting my auntie at the Beaumont, and then I realized that, they were paying people, well, not the Beaumont, but other facilities were paying people to come in and play music or, do something. So I thought, and then I got fired from my job, which just seems like my whole life.
Because you asked to be paid?
So I thought, well, why don't I start a company? And it was interesting. I can only talk about the Beaumont now because they're gone. They're not in business anymore. I went back to the Beaumont and said that, I wanted them to pay me now for coming. We were going there like 16 hours a week.
Yeah. What was your response?
She told me that my program didn't matter and that the people had no idea. She said to me, you could bring a chicken in here and they wouldn't even know the difference. And so I was going to stop going there because now we were up and running and we were having paid clients. And I was thinking, well, this really isn't fair to go there for free and, other people have to pay. But what happened was the residents all begged me to keep coming, and they were agitating with the Beaumont to pay us, and they never would. And then, of course, COVID hit, and the whole world shut down, and that was how that all ended.
Well, we have assisted living, and then independent living is is the coolest because you are independent. You're not. And then the next one down is assistance. If there's something wrong, you need assistance. What about
honey, what about it's not going to help us because it has to do with...
Independent doesn't work?
No, it has to do with all the new laws that the state of Massachusetts has just passed about people actually going into nursing homes. So unfortunately now they are putting a lot of limitations on the actual people that can come into a facility. Meaning moi.
Even a hospital.
Yeah, everywhere. So there's all these new health laws, and they're limiting the amount of the people. So if you think about it, if the people can't go in, how are the animals going to be able to go in to do their visits? It's just, and I don't even want to go there because it's just very, the sad part of it all is that it's the people in managed care facilities that are going to suffer because they're not going to have access to the animals, and they're not going to have access to volunteer people coming in and visiting them because of all these restrictions that the government has passed.
So, Kate, can you go to somebody's home if they would like you?
Right, but let's think about that. What sense would that make if they already had pets? That's the point of keeping people home
Not everybody has a pet, though.
in their own homes so that they can be in their own environment, they can have their own pets, they can
So what are you
have
doing now? How are you doing?
so, you know.
So what's the docket now?
Well, we're hoping what we really, really need, I keep saying this to people and they just don't get it, we need corporate backers so that we can have our own building, because we need to, the people want to have access to us, but they just can't because of all these limitations. And the cats and I have never done anything wrong. It's not us. It's the superstructure that's
Can you hold him
over
up a
all of
little
us.
bit? I want you to take a look at Kiki. Look at this
Who's
guy,
my
little guy.
Who's my guy? I want to tell you a story about Kiki because we don't want to get involved in all of this corporate crap, huh, Kiki? We were doing a visit a few months ago in a facility, and the cats are not trained. I can't say that enough, but they know what they're supposed to be doing. And so Kiki was doing his visits, and they were escorted visits, and the man brings us to the room and he leaves, and then he comes back to get us. Yeah, sort of. So anyway, about a minute before the man would come and get us, Kiki was getting off the people's beds and getting back in his stroller. And I said, Kiki, you can't do this. You can't be ending the visits early. I didn't ask you to do that. And he just kept doing it over and over and over. And then the man would come in the room, and Kiki was already in the stroller. So finally I said to him, I don't know what the heck he's doing, And so the fellow, he's a wonderful, wonderful guy, he said to me, maybe he hears my footsteps coming down the hall and he knows it's me. Well, now this isn't a guy who stomps around and makes a lot of noise, He's very quiet, So, and he did it throughout the whole visit. He just kept doing this. So now they escort me off the property. So we're in the elevator, and he's escorting me down to the exit, and Kiki's in the stroller, and he leans over like this, and he looks at the guy's feet. Well, I look over at his feet. His feet were like this big. So I said to him, wow, what size shoe do you take?
Yeah.
And he goes, a 13.
Yeah.
And Kiki's looking at me like, see? I could hear his feet.
Yeah.
And we couldn't stop laughing over that. And I thought, how smart that he knew because of this guy's footsteps.
Do you still see the man?
Yes.
Good.
And he's very nice. He's a very nice man. And so anyway, I just thought your viewers would get a laugh out of that because people are all, like, I was talking to somebody on the phone the other night. I was talking about the cats, and this person kept saying to me, they're so smart. Your cats are so smart. They're so smart. But all cats are smart. But see, the thing is, people don't have my skills to work with them, to let them develop. Like you see some school teachers in the schools, and you see, like, everybody, the parents will say, gee, we want to get Miss Smith because she's so good with the kids.
Sure.
And other teachers are not gifted like that teacher is. And so that's what goes on in my house. It's totally different than anybody else's house.
Okay, how can people get a hold of you if they'd like you to talk with you?
They can contact us at www.furlovecomfortcats.com. And there's a contact us page there, and it will send you right to our email, and you can contact me online if you want to book a visit with us.
I have an idea that you may hate, but what about the women's prison in Framingham?
Not allowed.
It's not allowed. I'm
No.
trying to think of people who would die to have, love to have an animal. Nope. Why wouldn't that be allowed?
Because it's against the law.
It makes no sense to me.
Yes, it does.
No.
Because they don't want you smuggling weapons in, using a
And
cat
a cat?
to smuggle things in.
Oh,
You know, things are very, very hard now to, you know, for anyone to interact with anyone. It's just very difficult.
but you go to church,
saying,
though, right? You go
like
to
I
church.
keep saying, Jan, we need corporate backers
Yeah.
so we can have our
But the
own
corporate
building.
people do go to churches all over the lot.
We need corporate backers.
Mm-hmm.
So that we can get up and running again. That's the only answer I can see.
Do you know Rod Lee?
Yep, and the newspapers don't print my articles, so don't even go there, Jan. I want to show you something cute with Kiki so we can get back on track. I told you about how Kiki does not like to be thought of as old. And so I came up with a little something that he likes to do. He likes to wrestle. And his kittens get very angry with me when I wrestle with him because they're afraid that I'm hurting him. And he loves to wrestle. He loves to... Come on, Keeks. Come on, Kiki. You can do it. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get Kiki the claw. He's going to get the claw. Usually he gets very excited when you wrestle with him because he loves it. Because he says, I don't want to be old.
Does he talk?
Yes, he does. He's very, very loud because he has, because he has dementia. So here he goes. Sometimes he forgets where he is and he starts to howl. And
He's loving her.
and the kittens all go over and they calm him down. You know, they lick his ears and they try and calm him down, but then he hits them. Because he's like, I'm all right. I don't need anybody fussing over me. But, I keep thinking I shouldn't wrestle with him like this because what if he starts wrestling with somebody when he's doing a visit? But he never does. He knows not to do that. In fact, at Christmas time, we were coming home from somewhere and he was in the back of the car. And I said to him, Kiki, why are you so quiet back there? Because usually I can hear him moving around. You know what he was doing? He was watching the Christmas lights. He was in the back of the car and he was like this.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at all the Christmas lights. All the way home on the trip, he just watched all the Christmas lights. It was really funny.
No luck at the senior centers. Usually those are pretty freebies to walk into.
Yep. Not for us.
Not for you guys.
Not for us, kiddo.
That doesn't-
So what else do you want to know about Kiki, Jad?
Now, he has how many brothers and sisters?
He has enough. He has enough, don't you, Kiki? Who's a good boy? He's the best one for doing the visits. It's funny because when we go into a facility, the people all remember Kiki and they all say, is that the one that has dementia? Is that the one that's 18?
Yeah.
And he's like the favorite of all of them, and I think about him and I think, when he passes away, he's had a good life. I'm not going to be sad, blah, blah, blah. But of course I will because there's so many, so many memories. One time he was doing street ministry and we used to have a friend that came to see us on the street and there was a terrible fire and the man had lost his pets in the fire and everybody said to me that day, don't go on the street, because the people are going to be so angry that they've lost their pets. It's going to be like you're rubbing their noses in it. And I went on the street and I had him with me, and a man came along and he said to me, I was talking to God, and I said, if Kate's not on the street, I'm going to shoot up heroin.
You going to what?
He was going to shoot up heroin because he was a drug addict, and he came, and we used to have a stroller that was down near the ground, and this man just laid on the ground and snuggled with Kiki the whole afternoon we were on the street.
This makes me think so much of addiction rehabs.
And so, and you know what was really sad? The guy did overdose a couple of days later, and I was hysterical crying, and my friend said to me, "You were there the day you were supposed to be there. You know, you didn't have to go."
Sure.
You know, and you were there for him. And fortunately, he recovered, but then the street ministry ended, and that's like when anything ends,
So, well, before we
people
end,
scatter.
do you have any new ideas which you want to try?
Corporate backers, so that we can have our own space, and then we can set the rules and the requirements
Yes,
and the
you
things.
find them in the many, many different places.
So,
You know, I think about AdCare in Worcester.
yeah, Jan, please. I've contacted all these people, and they've all said no.
I think about being in there. I've had a friend who was in there, and they would give anything to have something to love.
That's right. That's right. But the powers that be control everything. So
Kiki, thank you for. Did she drive? Did he drive?
no,
No, he didn't drive.
Kiki rode in the back. So if you have any corporate backers on your that are following your videos, that see us, that wanna,
What type of corporate backers do you like? Are you thinking of? There are many different types.
That's right, but it's up to them as to where they want to invest their money. That's the point of being a corporate backer, is they say, "Oh, I want to back this, I want to back that," and they can use their dollars for advertising. We would promote them if we're doing visits or whatever. You see this all the time. This place is like, I don't know if they're still around, but the Pew Charitable Trust and things like that, and then you put up signs and say, this program is funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation or whatever, because that's going to be the only way. I mean, people think America runs on Dunkin' Donuts,
Sure.
but it doesn't. It runs on...
Well, all those different towns have, in different cities, you have the city councils, and they have meetings. Everybody, you're welcome to come and attend. And the more you put your body out there and you speak, you may get nothing that day. But the more you get out there...
Oh, everybody I talk to thinks it's a wonderful idea. People go, "What a great idea." Oh, there's a fee. Well, we went back to the people who run the facility, and, because of the new laws now that just got passed by the Board of Health in the state of Massachusetts, we can't do this. And, we've got now masks, and, because there was COVID, and, we need these other requirements. And so I was talking to the head of all the volunteers, the animal volunteer workers, and I was in Fitchburg at a rabies clinic. She looked me right in the face and she said, "Volunteers cannot afford to volunteer
What
anymore."
you would really like to get, and I get every month, is the Worcester Business Journal. And in it you see many, many, many different administrators from different places, different types of places. The Worcester Business Journal.
Oh, I contact everybody. I'm contacting
it's
people
free.
all day long. Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, that's my daily job now, is contacting people, trying to get us back to work, and they don't even
Well,
respond.
before we close again, how can they reach you?
www.furlovecomfortcats.com, and you can go to our Contact Me form, and it will send you an email.
Thank you for bringing our buddy. Looks like he's going to have a long life ahead of him.
I know all my friends say he's going to outlive all of us.
Thanks for being with us, Kate. Good to see you again. Bye, Kiki. We'll see you next time and be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.